Is your project failing again because of a slow colleague? Stop appealing to their conscience. It is time to use the ghost deadline. In this video, there are no cliché time management tips. We are going to dig deeper. What legend to invent so that they believe you, how not to get caught, and where is the line between management and toxicity? If you are tired of being a hostage to someone else's slowness, this breakdown is for you. Let's begin. Why do we fall into this trap in the first place? It is all because of the student syndrome. This is our built-in tendency to start a task only when the deadline stops being an abstract date and turns into a real threat. Look at the typical cycle. 70% of the time is wasted on getting started, and only in the last 30% when the adrenaline spikes, the work begins. In a team, this syndrome of one person ruins the plans of everyone. But what if this peak of activity could be triggered artificially, on your terms? The ghost deadline is your personal insurance. This is the date you project to your colleague as the final point, when in reality, you have a golden buffer of 24 or 48 hours. This is not just a lie, it is creating a context where the procrastinator's brain switches to do-it-now mode. We build a system of external factors around this date. This turns the chaos of someone else's laziness into your predictable resource. To understand how the ghost deadline works, you must realize one fundamental truth: Parkinson's law. It states work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. Give a colleague a week, and they will spend 5 days painfully choosing shades of blue. Give them 2 hours, and they will deliver the same essence, cutting out everything unnecessary. The ghost deadline is a surgical tool. We artificially compress this space, taking away the right to imitate activity. Let's look inside your colleague's head. At rest, their brain is occupied with anything but boring numbers or edits. To turn on deep focus mode, the body needs a powerful chemical cocktail: cortisol and adrenaline. Normally, this rush happens a few hours before a real disaster. Your task is to provoke this reaction 48 hours early. When a person believes time is running out, they stop being distracted. This state is called positive stress. There is another paradox: an excess of time is the enemy of quality. When an employee has too much time, they fall into the trap of perfectionism. They start rethinking successful decisions, overcomplicate simple processes, and eventually get lost themselves. The ghost deadline works like a filter. It cuts out the garbage and leaves only the working mechanisms. But how do you ensure they deliver results? For that, we need the right legend. More on that next. Now let's get practical. Step 1. Legend building. The biggest mistake is saying, "Do it by Wednesday because it is convenient for me." That doesn't work. You need an external enemy or an inescapable circumstance. Remember, you and your colleague must be in the same boat. Your legend must sound big. For example, an email came from the CFO, or the client asked for a draft earlier. When the deadline comes from them, the desire to argue vanishes. You become an ally, simply warning about the storm. Step 2. Micro deadlines. One big ghost deadline is not enough. A procrastinator will still wait until the last night. To prevent this, we break the task into small pieces and hang a mini ghost on each one. This creates a conveyor effect. Your colleague feels that another person's work depends on their small step right now. Psychologically, it is harder to let down a neighbor than an abstract client. You create a rhythm where hurry is a normal background. Step 3. The control bump. 3 to 4 hours before the deadline is the critical moment. You need to raise the importance using a soft kick. Instead of asking, "How is it going?" use a clarification. Listen, accounting is already bugging me for the link. Are we still on for 3? This creates a sense of reality. They realize the process is started, people are waiting. This triggers the adrenaline rush. As a result, on Wednesday you have the finished result. You bought the most expensive thing in business, time. The biggest risk is your own relaxation. You made them work to the bone, and then you just put the file aside. Or even worse, they see that you sent that file only on Friday. This instantly kills trust. Rule number 1, imitate the process. You must create the appearance of the next stage. Say, I am sending this to the analysts. Never leave the work lying around. Your colleague should feel like a hero who saved the deadline, not a victim of a deception. The second risk, shared calendars. If you said the deadline is Wednesday but the calendar says Friday, you lose. How to mask it? Use technical deadlines, call it a freeze date for edits, or a deadline for the layout team. If they see the real date, be ready. Yes, the client expects it Friday but asked for a draft Wednesday, so we don't have to work through the night. See the difference? You turn a lie into care. You created a buffer to protect their personal time. But what if they realize the rush was artificial? Why did you push me if we submitted later? Don't go on the defense. Use the sudden change technique. You are a giant for making it right after you finished. The client moved the meeting. Or the second option, honesty through strategy. Yes, I set the date early. We needed a safety margin, so everyone could have their weekend on time. The key is to always return the focus to the common benefit. You were building a safety system for the whole team. Let's be honest, the ghost deadline is a sharp tool. It's easy to become a toxic manager who drives people just for the sake of the process. Rescue is when you set an early date to protect the team from night shifts. You create a safety cushion. Toxicity is when you create a rush just so they don't relax. If you bury them in new tasks because time opened up, you kill their motivation. A ghost deadline should give free time at the end, not punish speed with a new portion of work. Remember the parable of the boy who cried wolf. If you use the ghost deadline on every task, the system will simply break. People are not stupid. If everything is burning, always, their brain will stop reacting to the word urgent. A ghost deadline is like a spice. If there is too much of it, the dish is inedible. Use the method only in critical projects. If you have to lie to the team every day, the problem is not your colleagues but your planning processes. High-level mastery is when the ghost deadline becomes legal. Over time, you can tell your colleague the truth to their face. Listen, the deadline is Friday, but let's agree on Wednesday. This is our buffer for force majeure, so we both get home on time. When you move from hidden manipulation to partnership, the magic doesn't disappear, it intensifies. The best ghost deadline is the one everyone knows about but follows, because they value their peace more than last-minute adrenaline. Let's draw a line. The ghost deadline is not just a way to deceive a colleague, it is a way to deceive human biological nature itself. Properly created hurry is the best catalyst for the brain. It focuses on the main goal and saves from burnout in the last night. Remember, you are not a manipulator. You are an architect of the workspace, building safe corridors of time for everyone. You create conditions where the work is humming, but people stay calm. This is true management. Before you close this video and go implement the method, check yourself with this checklist. First, presence of a legend. Is there a compelling reason? Second, the golden buffer. Do you have at least 24 hours of margin? Third, breaking it down. Did you split the task into stages? Fourth, masking. Are you ready to imitate the process? And fifth, ethics. Will this method help the team or just add stress? If you said yes to everything, then act. Managing people is always a game on the edge of psychology and pragmatism. The ghost deadline is just one card in your deck. Use it wisely, and you will see how chaos turns into a system, and eternal delays turn into early victories. By the way, write in the comments, what was the most ridiculous false deadline someone tried to give you? Let's discuss your stories. Like this video if it helps you save at least one Friday evening, and subscribe. Here we learn to manage things so that life stays outside the office. This was the Cryptic Cognition. See you in the next breakdown.